Hi, I'm Scott. Welcome back to Canard Boulevard. It's a cold day in January. It's been, I think, about 3 weeks since I recorded the last video, so let me tell you what's been going on since. So when we last left you, I had been hoping to find a way to get my exhaust either replaced, rebuilt, or repaired. And I did find that one company that was the experimental exhaust company. I talked to them. I did some drawings, some 3-view drawings, and sent them to them and said, hey, can you do this? They said, yep, no problem. So I then sent off my exhaust, figuring that they would look at my exhaust as a template, and then along with the 3-view drawings, they could build me a new exhaust. They said, oh, we can do one better than that. Once they got it and had looked at it, they said, we can fix this. So what they've done is fix it. So here is my original exhaust, and what they did was cut off the pipe here and remove the damaged pipe, and then they have put in this new piece according to my drawings, and then they bead blasted it so it looks nice and new. Nice 321 stainless, titanium stainless. And there is my new exhaust, and it cost me considerably less than if I had had it made brand new. So it was $400 and something to have this custom work done. Beautiful work done by Experimental Exhaust. Can't say enough. Nice guys there. So the next step is to put this back on the airplane. And you can see that I've got this little jog up here because it used to come up here and go straight across and straight out. So I had them move this up, as you see there. That gives me enough room to put a heat shroud in. So this oil drain is going to go somewhere else. It'll move slightly outwards. This will go back in here, and it'll tuck up right in here like this, if we're lucky. There we go. And as you can see, I now have room up above this pipe here, and I've got room here so that I can now fit the exhaust heat shroud in there. And once I've got it installed, then I can measure for the clocking of the pipes coming out the heat shroud and get it manufactured. So that's been waiting on this before I could even order the heat shroud. I needed to get this back and installed so I can check and make sure everything looks right. So that's on the list for today. Now, I will say I have not been out here at the hangar for a few weeks because it has been brutally cold, like -20. So just not conducive to doing work in the hangar. Plus, not to mention the fact that the locks on my hangar were frozen, as well as the posts that go down in the ground that hold the hangar doors in place so they don't blow around. Those were frozen solid in the ground, so there was no getting into this hangar whatsoever, whether I wanted to or not. So the other thing we have to do is look at the electrical, the alternator. I mentioned in the last video about the electrical issue that I discovered, and I got a lot of good comments about it. A couple of people said, well, maybe the belt is slipping. I did have a look at the original alternator. If the belt wears, it actually will sink down into the V of the pulley, and you can look at the pulley and see the wear. And if it bottoms out, it then loses traction and will actually start slipping. But that you can look at the pulley of the old alternator as well as the pulley on the engine crank and on the new alternator, and none of them are showing any sign that the belt is that far down. So the belt is not worn. I did have another look at the belt itself to make sure it's not glazed, and it is definitely not glazed. So I don't think the belt is slipping. The tension is at the correct tension. I don't think that's the issue. That said, I did do a test. I put a meter on the battery and then powered up the avionics. Well, here's the first discrepancy. This meter is hooked up directly to the battery. It's showing 13.0 volts. And up front, I'm showing 12.8 volts. So that's a fair discrepancy, and that is being sensed by the EIS right at the very back there. So let's see if we can find out what the source of that is. So that's 0.2 volts lower than it should be reading, and the EIS, which reads the battery voltage, is literally about 8 inches away from the battery. So it's not like the wire is going all the way up and back and around through fuses and whatnot. That might be accounting for a voltage drop. There should be no voltage drop. It's right there. So I've got to look into that. I do not have my G3X EIS pinout with me here today, so I can't look it up to measure it right there, but I'm definitely going to have a look at that. While I'm here, I'm going to move the belt off the alternator and spin it up with a drill just to see if the charging voltage at the battery that I'm seeing is correct compared to what the avionics is showing. So that'll at least give us another data point to work with. So that's a couple things we've got to look at today. Back to work. All right, so I've got the exhaust pipe installed. It's not quite what I wanted. I did want this part to come down before it exited out of the baffle here. So it's about 2 inches off here, and I think that might be due to this radius here. I don't know if that's my measurement that I took wrong or if they took the drawings wrong, but I think it's okay. I think I can work with it because it does exit the cowl right here. It's together there. I'm having a little bit of issue with this oil pipe here. I want to make sure there's sufficient room to get the input hose, the scat tubing there, into the shroud, but I think I've taken a bunch of measurements and I think it's going to work. So I'm happy with that. So now I have taken the belt off the alternator. If you look, you can see the belt. Is it glazed? I mean, it's slightly smooth there, but I mean, if it's slipping, you're going to see burning, and I mean, it's definitely shiny. It's in need of replacement. Is it possible this belt is slipping? It's certainly possible. The pulley doesn't really show it. The belt is not. I mean, it's definitely worn. It's old, but not what I think is the cause. But we're going to try it anyway. I've got 2 separate multimeters set up here, and they are showing within 1/100 of a volt of each other. And I'm going to spin up the alternator and see what the multimeters read as opposed to what the G3X is reading. So let's do that test now. All right, so the meter is hooked up to the battery, and I'm going to switch on the G3X now and let it boot up. And you will see some power drop on the meter there as that happens. And while we're waiting for the G3X to boot up, I'm going to get my drill hooked up and ready to go. All right, here goes the lithium-powered drill. So as you can see, we stabilized it with the battery. The actual voltage of the battery is showing 13.9 volts, and that's what the regulator and the alternator is working off. The G3X reading was 13.6. It was showing 22 amps of current being drawn out of the alternator. So that's about a 0.2 to 0.3 voltage drop from what it saw at the battery, which is pretty consistent with what I measured beforehand, but it's nowhere near the huge drop of a volt or more that I was seeing in flight. So I don't think it's an instrumentation error. So finding any bad contacts or wires or joints or anything else anywhere else, I think we might be looking back at the belt again. But I am going to go back and have a look at the EIS and the junction box there and the wiring to figure out where that 0.2, 0.3 volt drop is happening and fix that. So I did have someone comment on my last channel that the baffling, the cylinder baffling, which you see right here, was awfully close to the pushrod tubes, which you see right there. And he said, you might want to check that, just be careful, because if the baffling actually touches that tube, it can wear a hole in your pushrod tube and your engine pumps all its oil overboard and you have an engine failure. That's bad. So I did check and I looked at all 4 of them and they all look good except for this one right here. And as you can see, just as he predicted, this baffle is touching that tube right there, and you can see there is some wear. It's worn the paint off the pushrod tube, but it is definitely not worn through or damaged it. As you can see, I'm going to fold that baffle down and get it away from that pushrod tube and make sure that there is no damage beyond just that paint worn away. Thank you to the viewer who caught that and mentioned it. I appreciate it. If you see anything that you think I should have a look at in my video, please speak up. I really do appreciate, because I definitely don't know everything, and there is a huge wealth of knowledge out there. So I appreciate the user that did give me that advice, and I will take care of that right now. So I did bend that away, and you can see there's just one little pit right there on the shroud, but it's almost surface that you could polish away. It's definitely not affecting the integrity of that rod shroud, so I think I'll just polish that and paint it, and that will be good. But again, thank you for picking up on that. So I have had this heat going for several hours now. I'm going to disconnect that, and the reason for that is to heat up the sump so that the oil is nice and warm, and that way I can drain it, because I do want to send off the oil for a sample, and I can't do that without draining it. The last time I tried this, I couldn't get this bolt out, or the drain plug out, because it was in there so tight. So I brought some serious tools with me this time. I'm also going to replace that plug with a quick drain so that I don't have this problem in the future. So, assuming that I can get my tool on there, we'll see if we can get it out this time. I brought a pipe wrench with me this time, so I definitely mean business. And I brought a cheater bar with me as well in case this doesn't work. My God. And the thing is, the last person to put this in here was me, so I don't know why it's so tight, because I did not do it this tight. All right, let me get my cheater on there. There we go. Boy, that took a lot. Now it is a 1/2-inch NPT thread, so that it does seal depending on how tight you have it. So it is important that it's tight, but it doesn't need to be that tight. So I'm going to drain some of it, the oil, into here, and I'm going to try and capture a little bit of it in this jar here. Once I actually get this off. What a mess. And I dropped the drain plug into the pan. Fabulous. All right, I need to get a cloth. And there's my oil sample. So here's the Fumoto 1/2-inch NPT quick drain plug that goes in place of the old plug that I dropped down inside that thing. I'm gonna have to fish around in there with a magnet or something. In any case, so what this allows you to do is you can put a vinyl hose on here and just bring it out through the NACA scoop, and then you can reach up in here and just this positive spring lock here, you pull it forward against the spring and then open, and then the oil drains. And then once you have finished, you just push this back up and it locks back in place there, and it can't come without pushing against the spring there, and it shuts off. So it just allows you to do oil changes without having to decowl the entire airplane to do so. So definitely made some progress today. The new exhaust is on there, and now I can get the heat shroud made up and ordered. I got the oil drained. I did forget to bring my warm oil with me, so I'll have to come back tomorrow and fill the engine up, but that's a minor issue. So, and I did do the test on the electrical. I don't know what the G3X shows yet. I'll have to pull the cards out of it and take it home and read it so I can see what it was reading and then compare it to what I was showing on my meter. So I'll put the results of that here, because obviously at the time I'm recording this, I don't know what the results are. I fixed the issue with that push rod shroud and the baffle. Thanks for that. And that's all the maintenance for today. I'm gonna head on home, get some dinner. I can see my breath in here. It's still pretty cold. It's just above freezing. So thanks for coming along with me on this journey. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, ideas, please leave them in the comment section below. I do read and appreciate all of those. And we will be coming back again soon with the next instance of the Cozy Maintenance Saga. Thanks for watching.